Okay, welcome back to Chapter 2, this section, which is 2.8. We're going to translate number sentences to inequalities, and we're going to solve applied problems using inequalities. So here's a chart that talks about important words to kind of help you in determining how to put stuff into word problems. Is, at least. That means he's equal to. The sample sentence could be Brian is at least 16 years old. So Brian is greater than or equal to 16. So just make sure that you're familiar with all of these charts so that you can determine what words and how to write these inequalities. It'll help you out quite a bit. So when you're translating at least and at most, the X quantity is at least some amount Q. So that would really say that it's at least some amount. So it's greater than or equal to. And then if it's at most, that means it's less than or equal to. So again, now all of these examples are going back to that 5-step word problem to do things. You familiarize, you translate, we carry out, then we check, and then we state. Those 5 steps. So that's all we're going to be doing, is still continuing those 5 steps. So let's look at the first example. Lazar Line charges $65 plus $45 per hour for a copier repair. Jonas remembers being billed less than $150. How many hours was Jonas' copier worked on? So we have to kind of look at it. We know that the initial fee is always $65. So I'm thinking, all right, so it's $65 is our initial fee, so that we've got that worked out. We have plus, what operation would you use there? $45 per hour. And he had some bill that added up to $150. So those are the notes I make down. So I'm going to let H be our hours. So I'm going to translate this. So we have 65 plus $45 times some number of hours. We don't know what that is. Has to be less than $150 because can't go over $150. He got a bill for $150. So now we're just going to carry it out. If we go and work it, so now I have $65 plus 45 times the number of hours less is 150. I'm going to subtract 65 from both sides. So I have 45 hours is less than 85, 150 minus 65. So I'm going to divide both sides by 45. So H is less than, not equal to, there's no equal to part, let me erase that, is less than 85 divided by 45. Now, I've told you in the past you didn't need whole numbers and mixed numbers when you're dealing with fractions. Improper fractions is fine. But sometimes you kind of need this to see if it would work out. So you kind of, because we're dealing with time, you need an hour, and then it's 8/9. If you don't know how to do that, you need to see me, but your calculator should be able to help you. So what would make that to a complete whole? It would be 9/9, something like that, or if it divided evenly, had it been 90 divided by 45, it would have gone in 2 hours. So Jonas's copier was worked on less than 2 hours. So that's your final answer. So average or mean means the same thing. You add up the numbers and you divide by the numbers of that's being added together, the total number being added together. You guys know how to find your average. But sometimes you like to know where you stand in a class, and so you figure out what you would have to make on your last test to get a good grade or something like that. A lot of times on multiple choice tests, you would always plug it in and find your answer that way. But let's look at this one. Samantha has test grades 86, 88, and 78 on her first 3 math tests. If she wants an average of at least an 80, which is a B, after the 4th test, what possible scores can she earn on the 4th test? So, let's say we know if we say 86 plus 88 plus 78 plus that 4th test, and then if we divide it by 4, we want it to be 80 or higher. So in this case, we want it to be greater than or equal to 80. Now, what would we substitute here for that 4th test? Do we know? Could you plug in numbers continuously and see if you'd get the right answer? You could. If it's me, I'm just going to let it be a variable. So I'm going to translate this into a problem that I should be able to work out. So I'm going to say 86 plus 88 plus 78 plus x, our unknown test, divided by 4, has to be greater than or equal to 80. Now I'm going to add up 252 plus x divided by 4 is greater than or equal to 80. And if you multiply both sides by 4, it clears it over on one side. So it clears here, so you get 252 plus x equals 320. I'm sorry, not equals, greater than or equal to. So I'm going to subtract 252 from both sides. And so x has got to be greater than or equal to 68. Based on what we said, if we check that out, we can plug it back in and it would check. You said 86 plus 88 plus 78 plus that 68 divided by 4 equals 80. You would say 320 divided by 4 equals 80. 80 equals 80. So it checks. So Samantha would need at least a 68 on the test. On the test. To get an 80 out of the class, or to keep at least a B average in her class. Alright, I'll see you in class time.